Hi, welcome in. Happy Tuesday. We are in June, which feels weird. We were in June yesterday too. I don't know why it feels weirder today than yesterday, but I feel like today I looked at the calendar and I realized like we're in June, like in it. And somehow like we're halfway through this year, which just feels like chaotic to me. Who's allowing this? Where do I write a letter? Anyway, welcome in. Hope you're doing well today. If you're joining me for the first time, I'm so glad you're stumbling upon me. I'm Lauren Lefkowitz. I'm an executive coach, and I believe Fine is a Trap. And I work with executives and leaders in the corporate space who have gotten to some middle point of their careers, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And they think like, this is it. And how you know you're fine is a couple of ways. One, I have a free tool that I forget to talk about all the time. But if you go to fineasatrap.com, you can download this free tool that will help you figure out how fine you are and what's fine in your career. It may also lead you to look at what's fine in your life, right? Because your career is not sort of absent of your life. It's not separate, but they play into each other. And very often as adults, our careers take the front seat and inform everything else around us. So welcome. If you're here for the first time, welcome back. If you're not here for the first time, I am going live every day for 30 days. Today is day 19. I've not missed a day yet. And in this challenge with Katie McManus, who is my business coach and friend, we are both going live for 30 days straight, and neither of us has missed a day yet. We've chosen our own consequences. So if we don't go live one day, you will see that I will have to post an objectively unflattering picture of myself. And if Katie forgets to go live one day, she will have to post a video of her singing a song of my choosing. So we're both really committed to this. It's working for us. So today we're going to talk about power dynamics. And I talk about this a lot. And I was talking to a client about it this morning. This client is starting a new position, came out of an old position where some of her confidence was sort of stripped because of the style of the manager that she was working for. And I'm using the word style generously, but she's going into a new position in a field that she's known before, that she's worked in before. And, there's still some lingering doubt and lingering confidence hits from where she was. And one of the things that we were talking about was this perceived power dynamic. And this exists everywhere in the world. So I'm going to talk about the power dynamic that I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about how it exists in the world. And then I'm going to bring it into both job searching and working just on a day-to-day basis. So when I talk about power dynamics, if you think of a baby bird and you think of the mama bird, the baby bird is completely dependent on the mama bird, right? So the baby bird's in the nest, it's sitting with its mouth open, hoping for food to come in. The mama bird even has to chew the food first before they can give it to the baby bird. If the bird falls out of the tree, that's sort of it for the bird. They cannot thrive on their own. And when we come into our lives, we are told as we grow up that there will always be some elder, some more important person to defer to. This especially happens for women. It also happens for the non-binary community. It also happens for the trans community. It also happens for the minority community. Honestly, basically anyone who's not a white dude, right? It can happen too, because we have these fears. We've been taught this way that we defer to somebody else. And when we are handed a status, and I say handed not because we don't deserve it, but because in the work world, We have to be offered a job. We have to be offered a promotion. We have to be offered the seat at the table. And so when we are offered those things, it's this signal that now we have a status that we didn't have before. So if we go back to this example of, baby bird, mama bird, and we bring it into real life, we bring it into helpless, helpful, right? The lack of power to be autonomous in a leadership role, whatever it is, the control. And this is how we perceive how things are going. And this person who's the perceived powerful one isn't always your boss. It could be you're in the grocery store and you ask the cashier, hey, this rang up for regular price, but it's supposed to be on sale. The cashier is the power person. They have the ability to check the price, call over a manager, change the price, right? Like whatever freedoms they've been given. So in that status, you're the baby bird, please help me. And the cashier is the mama bird saying like, I'm going to do what I think is right or what I have control over. This also happens with your own boss, right? So let's say that you're in the office and your boss is older and not super tech savvy. Now, I know some young people are not super tech savvy, so I'm not just picking on old people. But in my experience, when I have worked with people who are of an older generation who came into the work world when computers were not frequently used, they're often still asking, if they haven't kept up with technology, they're still asking, like, how do I make a PDF, right? In the moment where they're asking you how to make a PDF, the power dynamic shifts from your boss and you to you and your boss. Because if you don't help with that PDF, they're not going to be able to do the thing that they need to do, or send the thing that they need to send, or print the thing they need to print, whatever it is, right? So the power dynamic technically shifts, but you don't feel that because it's a moment in time, right? And then you go back to the boss with the power, etc. This also happens. I like the example of you're leaving work, you're driving home. This is me driving. You're driving home and you see that your boss is pulled over on the side of the road and they have a flat tire. They have 2 flat tires, right? So like a spare is not going to help them. They have 2 flat tires. And they're trying to flag somebody down because they have 2 flat tires and clearly they're holding their phone, but their phone is not working for whatever reason. You then have the ultimate power. You get to decide, do I stop and help them or leave them on the side of the road, right? Generally, if you're like an okay person and your boss is not a monster, you're probably going to stop and help. But our power dynamics are shifting all the time. Now, where we get into as leaders, as executives, is that we often will defer to other people because we perceive that they are more leadery than we are. And so when you come into a position, you have the opportunity to decide for yourself in your own perception what your level of power is. So this client who I was talking to this morning just got this new job, great job, and it is a partner to the partners in the business. So this client will not be a partner, but the role that she's going to be in is in partnership to business development, business growth, organizing the operations, like getting all the things and the places and the people in order. And she is a very experienced human who is coming in with a high level of executive presence, a high level of leadership ability, and came in with this concern that she was going to be sort of assisting the partners. And rightly so, because that's what we assume, right? Like anything that we don't feel like is the CEO level, we can feel like we are subordinate in all ways. Now, this client also interviewed for this position, treated the interviews really consultatively, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. She treated the interviews really consultatively. When they made her an offer, she asked for more money. Actually, she told them she'd like more money. And she told them why. And then she waited patiently for them to get back to her, and they did. And they accepted her proposal for salary. And now she's starting soon. And so one of the things that we were talking about was this feeling of support versus partnership, and shifting our mindset from I'm here to assist, even though I'm being paid multiple six figures, feeling like I'm here to assist, versus I'm coming in as a consultative partner because you need this position to be filled so that your operations can run smoothly, so that you can get faster proposals coming, so that you don't have to be the connection to marketing, so that we can actually run the business in a way that's going to be lucrative, easier for everybody, and serves the whole of the organization. And so first I want to normalize, like, it is completely normal to go into anywhere and feel like you're the subordinate. We've been taught to be deferential. The thing that I see and the thing that I know is, from my experience, is that when you are willing to stand up and say, this is what I know, this is how I can serve, this is how I can partner, it's very different than, hey, boss, how can I help? What can you assign me? Right? Now, you're not expected to go into a new job on the first day and know what to do. In fact, if you act like you know what to do on the first day, people will not take well to that. They call you a bulldozer, they don't like it, and they leave pretty quickly, or you do, because they don't want you there. But it doesn't have to be like that. It's not an either or. It's not either you bulldoze or you defer. It's that you come in. And the example that I gave this morning was, if you know me at all, you may know that I don't really know how my kitchen works. I know how to assemble food. I know how to heat food. I'm not entirely sure if my oven works. Because a couple of years ago, I had to have the thermostat repaired or replaced because I wasn't using the oven often enough. And then I turned on the oven and the thermostat was like, I can't do this, because I use like a countertop, all-in-one air fry toaster oven kind of thing. And it's just me. So who cares, right? But if I were to hire a chef to come into my home, I would expect the chef to ask me some questions. So if we're talking about this relationship of like peer, subordinate, dominance, all of that power struggle, power dynamics kind of stuff, I'm going to expect the chef to come in, respect my home, which, I respect their position and their expertise. I want them to ask me questions about what I like to eat, what I don't like to eat, what I'm allergic to, what they can hide in my food, which sounds really childish, but I have kind of a picky palate. So like, if you hide mushrooms in my food, I will know I will not eat it, and I will never go near whatever that food was again because of that one time it had mushrooms in it. I know. I'm rolling my eyes too. But if you hide, I hate mayonnaise. Hate it. If I don't know there's mayonnaise in the recipe, I don't see it. I'm not going to eat tuna salad. I'm not going to eat like potato salad with mayonnaise. But if I don't see it and it's like mixed into my crab cake, and I'm not going to know that there's mayonnaise in it because it's not gummy or slimy. I don't know. I don't like mayonnaise. Anyway, then I'll eat it. So I would expect the consultative approach from the chef to say, what won't you eat? What are you allergic to? And for me to say and be honest, I'm allergic to pineapple. I will not eat mushrooms. Peppers make me feel sick. Tomatoes have to be really well hidden, and probably won't eat them. I'll probably pick around them. So if they're not pureed into a sauce, then you probably want to skip that with me. And then I would have, for my own personal, I would have prepared a list of all my favorite foods and all my favorite ingredients. And then I'm going to leave my kitchen to the chef. I don't want to be in there. Also, I can't wait until one day when I have enough wealth that I can hire a chef, because I think that would be like the very best luxury of my life, to just hire a chef to come in and like handle my kitchen and package up things for lunch and breakfast the next morning and next day. Oh my gosh, that is like a dream. Anyway, I digress. So then I would leave it to the chef. And sure, they may come and say like, hey, do you have a knife sharpener? Because your knives are terrible. Or they may come, they'll probably bring their own knives, but they may come and say like, hey, can I do the grocery shopping? Or do you want me to leave a list for you of what to shop? Hey, what are the boundaries on this kind of thing? Is it okay if I pre-plan for 3 days of meals at a time? Right? So we're going to come to some agreements about what the norms are, what I prefer, and what they can do, what they can offer me. Once we do that, like, sure, sometimes I'm going to have some special requests, like, hey, I'm having someone over for dinner. Can you double the recipe today? Or, hey, I'm going to go away for a week, so please don't come and cook for me. Or it feels like there's not quite enough protein in my diet. How can we up that? Right? I'm going to be looking for ideas. But in each of those instances, I'm either being directive because we're serving my household, or I'm being consultative, or I'm asking for permission. So the power dynamic just like is very fluid between us, because my chef has the expertise. I have the hunger and the need for food. And together we can build a well-oiled machine. It's the same thing at work. If you are going in position, right? If this chef came in and said, is it okay if I turn the stove on? Hey, Lauren, are you okay if I leave the butter out on the counter instead of putting it in the fridge while I'm cooking? I can put it in after I cook, but that should all be judgment calls, right? On the expert. So if you're the expert in your position, you can be making judgment calls. You can be making decisions. And you have to start that early, or you have to start shifting that bit by bit where you are now. And that's part of boundary setting, is also taking a stand for yourself. And I talk about boundary setting all of the time. But part of taking a stand for yourself is saying, I do this, right? And not in the bulldozer way, but in a consultative way. So in your job, if you are a individual contributor, if you're a manager, a director, a VP, a senior vice president, the executive vice president of the entire corporation, you own a job and you get to do that job. Now, certainly a micromanager comes in and overtakes that. And certainly a toxic boss can diminish some of that. But if you're being hired for a position and you have a job description that says these are the things you're responsible for, you are in more of a power position if you come in and say, these are the things that I do. Here are the questions that I have. I'm excited to partner with you on this. Let's get to it. As opposed to, how can I help you? How can I serve you? How can I support you? Which is a different tone. It's you putting yourself in the subordinate position. If you are willing to walk into a company and say, I am a partner to this position, and this position is a partner to these people and these services, let's get to partnership, you will see a difference in how you are treated. And I want you to look around the company you work for now and look at all levels, who are the people who don't get instructions because they just do their job, or who ask questions from a contributory standpoint and not a servant helper kind of standpoint. And really recognize their actions, recognize the words that they use, recognize how they're serving the company and the organization, and not bowing to some overlord, right? The same thing applies to when you're looking for a job. When we graduate from whatever, high school, college, trade school, wherever we've gone, and we go for our first job, we are taught to be in the pick me position, right? The baby bird, again, position. And to prove to the person who's potentially going to hire us, to prove to them that we can do the job. Pick me. I'm going to be really good at this. I'm going to be really good to the company. I'm going to work really hard. Please pick me. That is appropriate for your first, maybe your second job, depending on how quickly that comes. After that, you're an expert. You're being hired for your expertise. Whether you're an HR coordinator, an executive assistant, a marketing director, the head of something, you are being pulled into a job because the company needs someone who does the thing you do in an expert way. So you get to have the interview from a consultative perspective. And if you think about it, like, again, if we come back to like home life, if you're hiring a painter, you're not likely to ask them, what kind of tape do you use to line the baseboards so that you don't get paint on the baseboards when you don't want to? You're not likely to ask them, what brand of rollers do you use? Or you're not likely to follow them around the house and saying, oh, you missed that corner. Oh, you missed that spot. Sure, you're going to inspect the work afterwards, but you're going to respect that they know what they're doing. So you're going to have them come and look around. You're going to expect them to ask, do you want glossy? Do you want flat paint? This room, because this room gets damp, you should think about X, Y, and Z. And you're going to respect that they're the expert on that and you're the expert on your home. You wouldn't expect a painter to come in and say, I really think you should paint this room all navy blue. Because you're not looking for a designer. And also navy blue seems like a little gloomy. But you're not looking for a designer. You're looking for an expert to do the thing that you need done. When they come in, you're expecting them to be your peer who has expertise in painting, who tells you what you need to move away from the walls and what they're willing to move away from the walls, who tells you you might want to be out of the house during these times because it's a humid day today. And when I'm painting, it might smell fumey, even though I'm using a low emissions paint. Or I need you to be home at this time because something will be complete and I'm going to need you to inspect it, whatever the case is. But you're treating each other like peers. And so when you go interview for a job at your level, whatever level you are, because I'm mostly not usually talking to entry-level people. When you go to interview for that job, you go interview for that job as a peer. You go interview for that job and say, this is my expertise. This is what I can offer. Tell me more about what you need. And the company says, this is what we need. Tell us more about how you offer these things. And you get to have a peer conversation. The higher level that you feel like you are, the more likely that they're going to invite you in from a respectful, collegial perspective and not a come in and assist us kind of perspective. I'm going to leave you with that for today. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day, and I will see you tomorrow for day 20. Have a great day.